All right, all right, all right. So, going back to the aged shings, this one is actually just something I got for fun because, sampling the teas is fun. It really is. I am seriously trying to find, that needle in the haystack, trying to find my Shangri-La of shampoos. Um, but also having a little bit of fun too. So this is the 1992 Tibetan King Brick tea, and I talk about tea, marketing in the tea industry, and talk about the story behind the tea is sometimes as important, if not more important. Well, I'm not gonna say it's ever more important. Maybe it can be, but the story it can be important, right? It is important, I guess, as far as marketing goes, anyway. But ultimately, the tea is what it's all about, right? It's all about the tea. So this is the 1992 uh, Tibetan King Brick tea, and it is important to note that the importance behind this is that many years ago, tea was grown Tibet and those high mountain areas, as far as like currency, like exchange. And so that's how tea became um, fermented and packed so that it could be easily transported and last a really long time, right? And so the other side to this is that in those high I came into this as well as far as my tea habit, what we'll call it, is because it is pretty much a green plant. And so when you're drinking tea, you are consuming some of those plant what do you call it? Plant phenols and all those things, all the nutrition that's embodied in green plants. So anyway, so that's what the Tibetans and the Nepalese and things were doing. They were also mixing this with yak ghee or yak butter, and my intention was to actually have some ghee here to try this out. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. My belief is that everything happens for a good reason, whatever that may be. I don't know, but I don't have the ghee with me, and I'm definitely not going to put off sampling this tea any longer. So um, I did do a cold brew as usual, um, and so this has been chilling for 24 hours. It is a fairly dark brew compared to some of the other teas that I've sampled so far. So let's get into this. I will say right away that the tea, and I think you could see here. I hope you can see is that there are lots of sticks and twigs in this. I mean, this is, what you would imagine um, that old time, tea was, what, 300 years ago, right? Where it was literally grown and produced and then packaged and shipped um, fairly efficiently. And I don't imagine that the purpose of producing this particular tea was for aroma or taste. I do think that it was more just of a commodity. It was definitely part of nutrition, um, but I don't think that any particular care was taken in sourcing the material or even producing it. But you never know, might get surprised. So yeah, so the tea, the dry leaf anyway, straight out the bag. It smells like it looks, right? Also too, for me, I think that it's really interesting that I mean, we are looking at something. And again, I talk about marketing in the tea industry, right? But 1992 is what it says. Um, Smells like 1992, looks like 1992, and is able to last that long and is still drinkable is amazing. And so you can see there the liquor, very see-through, very much of a apple juice to apple cider type of color. Let's get into this. Um, Again, the liquor smells like the dry leaf, old. Wow. And so I'm looking at this, and so the liquor is not thick at all. Um, and I'm gonna say this. This is only a sample, and so I won't have a lot of time to play around with this. But um, I do think that my experience will have been better had I done a thorough rinse um, of these leaves before cold brewing them, because I am getting a lot of dirt um, in this brew. Yeah, dirt and dust. Um, that's unfortunate because now I'm not sure what to do. Um, do I pour out the cold brew and then brew it again another 24 hours? I mean, the thing is, and I didn't read any tasting notes on this prior to, so I don't know if that's just the flavor that I'm gonna get no matter what. But yeah, it tastes dusty. It tastes like soil. Um, um, Interestingly so. Honestly, yeah, it really does taste like a dirt trail. It tastes like what you'd imagine tea or really anything would taste like if it was strapped to the back of a donkey or horse and then led over a dusty dirt road for hours. And I'm talking about hot too, not cold. Even though when you think of Tibet and Nepal and the mountains, you think of these mountain and aspen areas, but the taste is like an old, you know, country road, like desert almost, not desert, but almost desert. Um, Maybe that's the character of the tea. So it's good though. Doesn't taste bad at all. Let's um, let's pour this out and get into need to warm that water back up. But yeah, I mean it's a very light brew. Absolutely no bitterness at all. Having a hard time picking it out, but I just can't get over the fact that I am probably drinking a lot of dirt and dust. Um, I'm going to make my decision based on the hot brew that I'm going to rinse very thoroughly. And if the taste is completely different, if I still don't have that dusty soil taste, then I'm going to go ahead and pour out this cold brew, and then rebrew it again, and see what I get from it that way. If in fact the hot brew turns out to be very similar to the cold brew in terms of flavor, then I know that this is just the character of the tea, which, like I said, is really interesting because it tastes like dirt. Um, uh-oh, where is, there it is. All right. Okay, so as always, I'm going to hit this with really hot water and trying not to break the cake. There we go. So that's what we got in there. And so I'm going to rinse this a couple times. And when I say couple, I don't mean literally a couple. I'm going to rinse this until I think it is thoroughly rinsed, is what I'm going to do. Because I want to make sure that if in fact there is a lot of dirt and dust on this thing, that I get rid of it. Not just for safety, but because I really want to give this tea a chance to see if it really is, something to it. All right, so that's the first rinse, and still smells the same. Nothing has really changed. All right, we can try and get all the small bits out as much as possible. And I'll tell you, you know, I mean, this thing is made to travel. I mean, it is hard and just not going anywhere. It is not opening up at all. So it's still just this brick of tea. But and in the and it still smells old. So this may take, let's rinse this one more time. It's my first time ever rinsing tea more than twice. But part of me wants to really break this tea cake apart, pull out all of the, like really filter it, right? Like with a coffee filter and get rid of all the small pieces of material, and then see if it's possible to just brew the leaf. Um, but I don't know if that's gonna, I really think that's what it needs. I really do. It's starting to loosen up a little bit, not a whole lot, and it still smells old. And I think that is just the character of the tea in a way that, like, it's just, I'm gonna break this up. Oh my goodness, the middle of this cake is still dry. Wow. See, I'm gonna break this up a little bit. And the tea leaves were layered on top of each other. I don't know if I'll be able to show. So you can literally like peel the tea off in layers. I don't know if you can see that. Um, it is dirty. I mean, this is a dirty business. So yeah, so the tea leaves were just layered on top of each other and then packed down into this brick. And I mean, like I said, the middle of this cake is still bone dry. So I'm going to just rinse this until I'm satisfied. Your typical tea cake. This is definitely something different. And I mean, it looks like a bowl of mud. It really does. And there's so many of these sticks and twigs, and they're so black. Yeah. I mean, I think it's listen, I think it's just like the tea cake itself is just so old that that itself is its character, right? Like it's almost as if it has lost all of its tea character and just has taken on this uh any sort of like I'm a plant out of this. You know, more like I came from a garden, you know? Um it's like okay, there's something. All right, there's something. So still smells like dirt. Um I've heard a lot of people talk about camphor. And I am familiar with campho-phenique, which is a drugstore liquid that you rub on um, sores and bug bites and things like that. Um, I use it particularly for abscesses. If you have an abscess, you rub the campho-phenique on the abscess, and it pops the abscess like that. Um, it's amazing. It's like liquid lancing or something. So it does have a little bit of that. It's not as strong as campho-phenique, but I'm out tonight and really brew this thing up and just see um, what I get out of it. So I think this is like the fourth rinse or something. So I'm gonna go ahead and pour this one up. Because of the cold brew, not having any bitterness at all, I'm gonna go ahead and steep this one um, couple infusions as far as steeping time, and then from there I'll play around with water temperature. And look at this. I mean, it looks like you literally went out into your garden, just grabbed a handful of dirt that happened to have some old leaves and sticks in there, and then threw it into your teacup. I mean, it's like that's kind of the fun of this thing, right? I mean, you know that it's a Tibetan tea brick. Like you know what you're getting into. So it's not something that you're going to not going to necessarily drink for the flavor or for the aroma, even though it is somewhat aromatic. It's just something that's kind of interesting, you know. Something that I kind of went away from. Try to impress your friends with, or is it a tea that you offer to someone who is new to tea? This one is definitely one that I can say because of the story, right? Um, Something that I can actually, I don't, if your friend is really into tea, okay, I think and not only into tea, but also like in the know, right? Like they're very experienced. You know what I mean? I don't think you're going to impress them with a Tibetan tea brick, right? I think they may say, "Oh, that's cool that you have one," but no, like pull out the other stuff, like pull out the good stuff. Don't, you right? But someone like my mom who doesn't know much about loose leaf tea because of the story and because it's such a mild flavor. Maybe this is something that you can. Oh, it's just the thing is, there's so much plant material. It's too much. It's too much material. And again, like I said before, the plant material itself, um, you don't know if what you're drinking is dirt or dust. It's too much. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to all of the small pieces of material and see if I can just brew the tea leaves. And the way I think I'm gonna do that is I think I'm gonna go through the tea itself and pluck out the larger um, tea leaves and then just brew those because it's just way too much plant material, which wouldn't be a bad thing if it didn't taste like dirt because then you're thinking, well, this is not plant material. This is just all dirt. Which again, I would be surprised if we're talking about 1992 Tibetan tea bricks. You know what I mean? So yeah, I can't because mentally I don't know if I'm drinking dirt or not. I can't. I think I'm drinking dirt. So again, I'm gonna pull out some larger leaves and just brew those and see how that goes.